to stream. There we go. Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Welcome. I am super excited to have this live. This is my very first live, so I'm going to be nervous, but I want you guys to just stick with me because it's going to be a good one. I'm so excited. And if this is your first time on my channel, a very warm welcome to you. If you are returning, thank you so much for all of your support to my channel. And I just wanted to have a really important conversation today. And you know what? To be honest, I can't even do it justice. Like I can't because we've all been watching Married at First Sight, and Married at First Sight is a show, if you're not familiar with, it's a show where strangers sign up and these experts basically give them questionnaires and examine them to see if they are going to find matches for them based on their personality, based on like their sexual drive, and based on their spirituality. So they usually match people based on these things. And because it's an experiment, there is an experimental factor where they will put you with someone who you didn't necessarily ask for, but who they feel may bring out a certain part of you that could nurture a healthy relationship. So that's what this show is based on. And so with this season, we had a young lady, Paige, who is faith-based Christian and who also has a very high sex drive, and was matched with a gentleman, Chris, who portrays to be Christian and, you know, also comes with the sexual energy. And so with this being said, they were matched. And I think the thing that was so significant for me is that because she had this idea of marriage as this end all be all, when she came on the show and she got a present from the guy, which was a unity, what is it? Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. I think it's a infinity symbol. So since she got the infinity symbol, and she already had a tattoo that is like an infinity symbol, that to her was the sign that she needed something to hold on to, something to anchor into, that literally sold her for life, that this was meant to be, and it was from God. And after that, we see just a lot of just situations that happen that, you know, looking from the outside, we're thinking, why are you here? Why are you still with this man? There's nothing that's tying you down. There's nothing that's anchoring you other than your idea of God putting this together. And all these situations that are happening are letting you know that God did not put this together. Like, it's just, it can't be from God if it's this terrible. But for her being in a situation like that, she obviously has a different perspective on it. Now, the negativity that the negative words and the negative judgments that a lot of people are kind of spewing onto her, saying that she really has no self-esteem. If she was a friend of mine, like I wouldn't even, like, I throw her away, like just things like that. And sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily verbatimly like if she was my friend, I'll throw her away. But it's just those words when you're in a state of brokenness can ring so heavy. And for me, I have been in her position. I had been in a position where I knew this was not good for me, where I knew this is not what I deserve, where I knew this is not where I was supposed to be. But sometimes you just don't know how to get out. Now, let me give you guys an illustration. We hear the word broken being used, right? Which really, yeah, that's it, broken. So let's take this analogy. You have a plate, you hold it all the way up in the air and you drop it. You drop it on a concrete floor or a hard floor, a non-carpeted floor. What happens? It breaks. But when it breaks, what happens? It shatters and it scatters. So if you think of this as a human being spirit, now we're not born broken, okay? We're not born broken because our baby even knows how to hold his boundary, his or her boundary. When a baby's hungry, a baby holds their boundary. A baby says, no, I'm hungry. You're going to feed me right now. And if you don't feed me, I will cry louder until you feed me. If I'm wet, you're going to change me. So they even know what self-care, like protecting their self is. They have a sense of self and a sense of being in a healthy environment, or at least a healthy space within their own self. They know what that feels like, and they know how to gauge it, and they know how to tell you when you're doing something they don't like. So we're not born broken, right? So life experiences tend to break us depending on the variables that accumulate, right? Some of us are blessed enough to not have those variables, and others are. Sometimes we don't even know what those actual variables are. So what I'm saying is that for me, being someone from a background of brokenness, I can understand what it means to be broken. I can understand what it means to be shattered and scattered. And when people are even telling you what to do, it's not that you're not hearing or listening, but because you're shattered and scattered. See, when the plate falls and breaks and shatters and scatters, what we do, in my house at least, what I say is nobody move. Don't come over here. Because we don't need disturbances when things are shattered and scattered, right? When things are shattered and scattered and all over, you don't need disturbances. But life is not the kind that you can tell it to stop and don't come over here. Life comes even when you're shattered and scattered. And that kind of disturbance makes it hard for you to find the pieces of yourself. And so not being able to find those pieces, as in shattered plates that you need to find and gather so they don't cut somebody else, yourself and your sense of self is scattered. So when you even hear what someone's telling you, it's so hard for you to process it, because that piece that needs to process is so far away from the piece that heard it that you wouldn't even be able to connect. See, brokenness, that's why it's such a very heavy thing. And that's why it's something that we really need to have a little bit more empathy for. So my intention for this live is to be able to tell my story, right? But when I am in my story, I'm jaded in the story. I'm wearing rose-colored glasses because I'm actually in it. But I have beautiful bridesmaids, beautiful close friends who have walked this life with me, some from middle school, high school, and at least college. And we've been together, rocking life, doing life. They've seen me, and I want you to hear their perspective. But before I bring them on, I have been prayed up all day. I've been prayed up all day, because I know this has been so heavy on me since I was in my marriage. 2008 is when I got married. And since then, it's just been so heavy on my heart that I want to create a space where people can feel safe, where they don't feel like they're being judged, where they don't feel the disturbances of life coming at them, the negativity and the judgments and the looks and the sounds. Okay, I guess you're still there. Like all those things. That disturbance that makes it hard for you to find your pieces to put together. You don't want those things to be happening. I've always wanted that. And so with God being so good and helping me get out of my situation and being able to have this platform, I was praying today for God to take self out and for him to be able to show me what he wants me to say. And in me praying, in me find my true words, like it was so powerful that I do want to play it. I want to play it for you guys because I wanted to hear myself. I wanted to hear the Holy Spirit talking to me so that I would know exactly what it is that he wants me to say. But I can't do it justice. I have to play it for y'all. And there are parts where you hear my voice break. And in those parts, that's the part where I heard my truth resonate. And my truth is that I want to create safe spaces for women who feel broken, for women who feel lost, for women who feel unsettled, for women who don't know what to do in their spaces, in their realities. I want to create a safe space for you so that we can guard that disturbances off, those interactions, those interferences, the shattered glasses that are around and the kids running through. I want to guard those off for you so you be able to find yourself. You be able to gather the shattered glasses and the shattered plates and put it together so you can be whole again. Because all you need to be whole is within you. You just have to stop the disturbances. You just have to stop the interferences. So without further ado, I'm just going to play that. And my girlfriends, they do have babies and they do have kids. So there may be, coming in and out, and that's fine by me because listen, that's where we are in life. We have kids and we just have to pay attention to them. So if I don't mind, I pray that you guys don't mind, and so that we can have a really good conversation. But I'm going to go ahead and play this prayer that I was praying for you so that you can hear the things that the Holy Spirit was telling me. I can't verbatimly tell you what that is. So I just hope that you will bear with me. It's a little long, but it is very impactful. And I hope that you will at least bear with me to listen to it.
I surrender it all to you, Lord Jesus. I surrender this whole event to you, Father. I want you to make my intention clear, Lord Jesus. What is it that you want me to do, Father? What is it that you want me to do, Lord Jesus? What is it that you want me to accomplish, Father? What is it that you want me to accomplish, Father? What is it that you want me to accomplish, Lord Jesus? What is it that you want me to accomplish, Father? Father, speak to me, Lord Jesus. I am surrendering all of myself to you, Lord. I am surrendering all of myself to you, Father. I am surrendering myself to you to use me as a vessel, Father. I am surrendering all of myself to you, Father, for you to use me. Lord Jesus, I don't want this to be about myself, Father. I want to be able to give somebody a safe space, Father. I want to be able to give somebody hope, Father. I want to be able to give somebody just the room to be able to breathe, Father, to let them understand that you are not alone, to let them understand that you are not failing, to let them understand that you got this, to let them understand that you need to tune the negativity out, because the strength that you need is within you, because the strength that you need is within you, and that I understand if nobody does, that I understand if nobody does, but at the end of the day, it is going to be you pulling yourself out, and so I need you to be able to stand strong, and in order to stand strong, you have to tune the negativity out, and in order for you to do what's good for you, you have to tune the negativity out, and in order for you to do what's right for you, you have to tune the negativity out, and you have to be in a space where you are able to think and find yourself. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to show you that it didn't come in one day. I'm trying to show you that it didn't come in one day. I'm trying to show you that it didn't come in one day. It was a whole process for me. It was a whole process for me. And yes, maybe some come slower than others, but I want you to stand tall in your truth. And I want you to stay focused on finding yourself. And I want you to stay focused on finding your truth. And I want you to not be swayed by the negativity out there. I want you to be able to stand tall in your journey, because listen, you are not the author of your life, and nobody else out there is the author of your life. So you need to be able to stand strong and go to the author of your life and be able to trust that all things will work for your good, and be able to trust that when it is time for you to get your strength, you will. But the one thing I will tell you is stay focused. Stay focused on trying to find your thoughts. Stay focused on trying to find your feelings. Stay focused on trying to find your emotions. Stay focused on trying to find the positivity. Stay focused on trying to find your strength. Stay focused on trying to find your truth. Stay focused on trying to find yourself. Do not let the negativity sway you. Yes, somebody might call you low self-esteem. Yes, somebody might call you broken, and you may be. Yes, somebody may call you all these other words, and you may be. But do not focus on that. I want you to focus on your truth. Your truth is that you may be in a situation that you can't understand. And for now, that's okay. Because for now, that's where you find yourself. But the next truth is that what are we going to do about that? What is the plan that you want to have to get out? What is the way that you want to go to get out? What is the way that you want to go to get out? Who is the most reliable person you can reach out to when you need help? I want you to think of these things proactively. That's what I want you to think of. Don't be worried about who's talking or who's not. Don't be worried about the voices that are out there that are speaking. Don't be worried about the negativity out there. Think. Think who your support systems are. Think who you can lean on right now. Think who can give you an ear. Think who can give you an outlet. Think where you can go to feel safe, because the one thing you need is safety. The one thing that you need to be able to figure it out is safety. You need to be in a place that is safe, and this is why I am here. This is why I feel the need to be here, because the most important part for a person that's broken is safety, and anything that is going against that is damaging to you. And so these words that are crashing into your soul, and these words that are piercing your ears, I am praying that you tune it it out. Tune it out, tune it out, tune it out. Tune the negativity out. Yes, they may be out there calling you broken. Yes, they may be out there calling you low self-esteem, but they may be the same ones struggling with the things that you're trying to get through. So do not let any of it pierce through you. Do not let any of it pierce through you. Focus on finding your truth. Focus on finding yourself. Focus on finding your strength. Focus on finding that thing that you need that you may not even know you need yet to get out. Focus on finding your health. Focus on finding peace of mind. Focusing on finding self. And that's where your strength is. And that's where your strength is. I want you to focus. 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 I want you to tap deep down inside and get your strength. But the purpose is this, is to let you know that, listen, it's not above anybody to be broken. It is not above anybody to be broken. It is not above anybody to be a failure. It is not above anybody to be lost. It is not above anybody to be lost. It is not above anybody to be stuck. If you are presented with the right set of variables, the unfortunate right set of variables, you will be in a position that will have you called stuck, and called lost, and called devastated, and called broken, because that's what life does to you. That's what circumstances does to you. And I'm not saying that you need to be stuck there, and I'm not saying that you need to be content there, but what I am saying is that for you to even be able to find your strength, you need safe spaces. And I want to be that safe space. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus.
Okay, so I am back, and I am a little shaking because I am feeling the Spirit of God. And I don't want this to be a channel that is just all dripped in God, but it is such a fabric of who I am and why I am that it will be coming out. And I hope that you guys are okay with that. So I am going to be adding my girlfriends on. I do have some who are not here yet, but that's okay. Okay, that's okay, because I got love all day, every day for my girls. So I am going to start with Miltonia. Hi, Millie.
Hey. From
Oh,
afar.
hi, Miltonia.
Hi, everyone.
I'm going to bring... Hi. Who's LP? What is LP? Unmute, please. Who's LP? Oh, Liz. Liz. Elizabeth is probably LP. Right? I think so. Who would be LP? Rahel. Hi, Rahel.
Hi.
Okay, y'all got to help me. Who could be LP?
It's Liz Poby.
Hi, Ruby.
Liz.
Yes, it's me,
Yes.
Liz.
Yeah. Hi, Liz. See, I figure it's Liz. Hi, Lizzie.
Hey.
Boo.
Hi, girl. Hi, Toma.
Hi, Boo.
Hi. Show.
Hello.
Hi. Who are we missing? So Latonia, Liz, Rahel, Ruby, Toma. We're missing Maureen and Patricia and Ya. And Ya's gonna be coming on later. But YouTube world, here are my amazing bridesmaids. And I love each and every one of them. Now, I want to go around and ask how long you guys have known me, because how long you've known me is very relevant to this conversation, so that we know how much of me you've taken into, and how accurate your perception of me is, because the whole purpose of this is to be able to tell my story, and not only tell my story, but tell it from the outside perspective, because for me being inside of it, I could sit here all day and tell my story all day, and it may still be skewed. So I want to hear from you guys' perspective, like how you saw me. And I think I sent a few questions out just so that, like for the people who asked. But I'm gonna start with just how long you've known me. I'm gonna start with Miltonia, because Miltonia's the first one that came on. So Millie!
Oh, crap. And I can't even show my face. Sorry, the baby's sleeping, so that's
Speak
why
a little. Oh, the baby's
she's
sleeping.
sleeping.
Oh, my Layla.
Um,
Listen, I have a kindred spirit named Layla too. I love her. And my niece's name is Layla. So
um,
love you, Layla.
but
Layla in the chat. Layla's in the
but
chat. So.
I've known that. Hi everyone. I'll show my face in a few, but I've known
And Miltonia, before
Emily.
you go, let me say one thing.
Go ahead.
So my name is Adjoa on these YouTube streets, okay?
Okay.
But Adjoa is my day name. Okay, Adjoa is the day that I was born. So if you
Right.
hear them saying Emily, Emily is my English name. But Adjoa is my name that everybody knew even before I was given a name. Because when you're born on a certain day, as a girl, you're just Adjoa. So for me, that is my truth, is Adjoa. So anyway, Miltonia, go ahead.
Okay. I've known Ajua since, gosh, is it high school?
Yes.
Yes, high school. Um, what grade would that be? Ninth grade?
Ninth grade.
Ninth grade. But we really got close. 2002, freshman year is when we
Right.
became. We built our unbreakable bond, and we were roommates
Yes, we
for
were.
2 years in college. And yeah, we have something special between the
Yeah.
two of us.
Don't we though?
But yes, I will let someone who's showing their face speak.
Rahel.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Hailu?
I'm doing well. So I've known Ajwas throughout high school, and we became very close at VCU, and we've been friends since then.
And there's a storm going on, so if you hear thunders, that's just my background music. Just, God just wants to give me a background sound, so that's just what that is. So yeah, we've known each other since high school. That's right, Rahel. Liz. Okay. My Lizzie. Or I can go to someone else. I can go to Toma and I'll come back. Toma.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How long I've known you? Wow, since
Yes.
2006, I think, in nursing school.
Yeah,
That's when I met the
2006.
famous Adjoa. And we got close throughout the years.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
And Miltonia is one of my kids' godmother, and Toma's another kid's godmother. And we go to Shadetta. Hi, show. Oh, we can't hear you.
Who, me?
Oh, you're having connectivity issues?
She said,
Yeah.
I remember she said her
Okay.
power went out. So
Yeah.
Can you
probably
guys hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay. So are we just
Yeah, how long you've known me?
So I'm sure that and I met Emily in 9th grade. But ninth grade. And then they used to say there was this.
Aww. Yeah, so really we met 9th grade. Like it's kind of just high schoolish, college-ish. And once the other people come, I'll let them speak too. But Liz?
Hi.
Hi, Liz.
Can I see my boo's face?
Oh my gosh. You don't want to do that.
It's been years. I haven't seen your face.
And
It's
you probably
been a long
don't
time.
want
This
to
is like a
right now.
reunion of sorts.
I want to see your face, boo.
Boo, I'll show my face later, please.
Okay.
I look a hot mess.
Okay. Sorry.
But
Really?
I met
Go ahead, Liz.
Emily in college, and it was your spirit. I fell in love with your spirit.
Oh,
I loved your spirit. We connected, and we've been friends ever since.
oh, that's right. Yeah, we met in college. I think I said Ruby.
Yeah, hi, Emily.
Hi. How long have you known me?
My math teacher died early, so
Ruby, stop.
2002. How long would that be? Hey, somebody do the math.
2002.
Yeah,
Yeah.
freshman year in high school.
That's a while.
All right, somebody do the math. Me, I had my calculator. I can't get to my calculator from this screen, so
I don't know. We're too old for that. I think we 2002. We all know. I can't even. I'm an accountant and I'm not doing the math in my head right now. So
Shadada. Yeah, it's been ages. Yes.
yes, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So my next question is, since you were the last one to go, Ruby, I'm gonna ask. Oh, Yaya's here. Hi, Yaya.
Hi.
Hi, Yaya.
Hi.
Okay.
Sorry, my late.
It's okay. Welcome. And you actually came right in time. We just started. And I was just asking everyone how long they've known me. So how long have you known me, Yaya?
Emily, just like that. Just like that.
Yes. Because we were about to move on to the next thing. And like you literally just came and it's like perfect timing.
How long have I known you?
Yes,
I guess I would say since VCU 2003.
2003. Yeah. That's right around it. Okay. Okay. So the next question would be, how many relationships have you seen me in?
Still me, right?
Yeah, we'll start with you. Hi, Layla. Okay, I don't want to be. How many relationships have you seen me in?
Three. No, 4. I'm sorry, 4.
Who and who and who?
I didn't know you well with Joey and I'm your boy.
With Joey.
Okay. Then Anthony.
Uh-huh.
And then
that's right. It is 4.
Ben and Theo.
Yeah. It is 4. That's right. Yeah. Shanetta. How many relationships? Shanetta? Okay, I'll go to Rahel. Rahel?
So, not too many, but the one that I vividly remember was Joe.
Yeah. So you knew me around Joe. I think with Ben, you kind of just saw a little bit, but not too much. But you were around. And I think the consensus really is because we all have known each other during that same, span of time. Really, it is 4, and I've been in 4 relationships. So that's it. That's the bulk of it. And so I think the next question that I want to go on to, and there were some of you guys that were there when I actually met my ex-husband. And another thing that I want to say is like, this is not demonizing him at all, because we're actually in a really good place, right? And this is to the audience. Like, this is not about demonizing him. This is just about having a real conversation about my process through my brokenness, is what I would call it, in my relationship, and making it more human and having people see the different aspects of how a person can be broken. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your self-esteem is literally in the gutter, but it just could mean that in that situation, you just don't have the wits about being able to get yourself out because you're stuck because of something. Hi, Maureen.
Sorry, I passed out.
It's okay. Hi. We're missing one more. It's just one more person, right? Oh, people are just jumping on and off, but that's okay. That's just how it rolls. Hi, Maureen. So we started not too long ago, but yeah. So that's really the intention of it. The intention of it is to be able to have you guys just give the perspective of the relationship. And there were there were a few of you guys that were there the day that I actually met him. I don't know if someone wants to actually share a little bit of that story. And again, we're not demonizing him because we're actually friends. And you know what? I'll say this. I actually apologized. I apologized for any part I played. And he also apologized to me. And that was a very mature moment where we actually sat down and it was just like we were young. And if I did anything to trigger any reactions from you, I apologize. So yeah, so this is not to demonize him. I just want to make that clear. So I'm gonna go. Who was talking? Maureen just came in. Maureen, were you there when we met? Who was there when we met?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, I was there. Shadetta was there. And Toma was there. Yeah, you're the only one on camera. You want to tell the story of how we met?
Me bedroom my camera. That's what it takes to talk, talk first. No. Let someone go, myself.
Okay, well, just make it quick. It was just really quick. You can make it just a really quick conversation.
Oh, I think from what I remember, what was the place called?
Kennedrail.
We went there. We were in college, so it was like a weekend. I remember the big focus was trying to get fish. They had really good fish.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I remember. I think it was him. Was Momo there? Toma might be able to tell me. I'm not sure if he was there at that time. But we were dancing. Our whole thing was trying to get fish, and it went from a friendship to what it was.
Yeah. And I am grateful for what it was. And regardless of whatever it is, I'm still grateful for that journey because it taught me a lot. Through pain sometimes comes purpose. So it taught me a lot. My next question then would be, I just want to get into the serious stuff. What did you guys see? Like, there were some people who were there on that rehearsal, the wedding rehearsal, where we had this really big fight. Actually, before that, I actually even go to Shadetta. Shadetta, do you remember the biggest fight that we had where I was about to walk away? And this is even before he proposed.
And my service is bad. I don't know if you can hear me, but the one I remember was the all white. Oh, I finally have electricity, so it's better. But anyways, was it the one we went to? We were going to a picnic, and he like blew up when we were driving, like yelling and screaming, and he was driving the car, and he had to like pull over to the side. Is that what you were talking about, Emily?
Yeah. And
that was who said I remember?
I did, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, that was a big one for me, and that was before he even proposed. And then, as you are, Emily, you always try to rationalize things and explain things, why certain people behave the way they behave and everything. But that was my first time seeing him blow up like that. That was my first time. Like, I was like, it's like night. Like he's so nice. Like, he's very nice. But then when he gets mad, and that was my first encounter with that, and I was shocked. And we were driving to an event, and then when we got to the event, and he switched back up to like nice Ben.
And she dropped. So I'm gonna go to someone else. I'm gonna ask Maureen, have you ever seen anything like any what was the first moment that you saw, like a fight or a disagreement or something that was just like, oh my God?
I don't believe I ever saw that, because when I came home and I saw you all, everything was so far so good. I don't think I ever encountered any disagreement.
Okay. Latonia, your first encounter, your first actual moment where you saw and you were just like, whoa, what is going on? Like, this may just not be healthy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As far as actually seeing, it was the first encounter was during the wedding rehearsal, and that was when I'm not sure what he was upset about, but sorry about the background. I'm trying to keep her entertained. But he was upset. He blew up, and I think everyone was kind of uncomfortable naturally because, of course, weddings are stressful. But it was also a time for us to just be joyous and celebrate, and that was the first time. And then within the marriage,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's
you want me to
start. No, we're gonna start with the beginning, and then we're gonna go, because within the marriage, we'll come to that too. But what was how was my reaction? How did I react when that blow up happened? What was my reaction? Hi, Lizzie.
You know what? She just knows how to make me smile. You know what? Boo. Well, anyway, what was your reaction to me always was it's going to be okay. We're gonna work through it. And to just keep pressing on and keep moving on and kind of just be submissive is what I thought of. That I thought about you during that time frame. You were really just trying to be a good wife and support your husband and even girlfriend role. But I didn't see him blow up during the boyfriend girlfriend phase.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was more so just at the rehearsal dinner. But I can only more so speak for during the wedding. During the marriage part. But at all times, you more so were just trying to keep the peace, smile. Even if there was a blow up 5 minutes ago, you'll come out smiling like nothing happened and everything was fine. And I think, and like I said, the whole submissive part too, which I think is sometimes it can be cultural as well. So it was, and then also a lot of how we react to is what we've seen in our household or what we've seen growing up with family and friends or whatever. So I think you were just trying to stay calm and just maintain and just hoping it would pass and you guys would work through it. But yeah, did I answer that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And someone was asking in the comments how old I was. I was 23. I was 23, so I was young. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to Yeah. What was the first actual moment that you saw that you were kind of like, whoa? And if you could describe how my reaction was it consistent with who you know me to be? Yeah.
I think for me, I'll probably say the same about the rehearsal dinner. Was the first time I saw like a blow up. I think I've always known you to internalize what you're going through. You're there for your friends. There are times that you're completely MIA, and then you show up and it's like, oh, just back to like nothing happened. And I felt like it was always easy to talk to you as a friend, but then I always didn't feel like I knew exactly how you were feeling because you just handled it so well. I remember one night, I think we were going somewhere and I can't remember, we had Elijah and Ben was out. And I think you felt like we weren't going to be out long enough. And I don't know who was watching Elijah, but I was like, wait, he's out. It was almost like you didn't have any happiness as far as like oh, I want to go out with my friends, so I also want to do this. It was always like, Ben is out. You had to figure out how to take care of Elijah or Camille or Jordan. That's how I always saw you in the relationship. I always saw you to be like, you figure things out. You would talk about it if it came up, but if it didn't, you didn't reach out.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And in your opinion, like, what is that? Like, is that just who I am, period? Was it just in this relationship? Have I always been that way? Like, where, like, just looking from the outside, like, you're looking at that and you're like, this is not who Emily is, or this is who she is. Like,
I think in conversations with you, with how your mom is towards you, you've always been made to be self-sufficient. And so I see you to be, I can do it. It's okay. You hold it together. Whereas a lot of people, they don't have to say much, but you can read things that are going on with them. With you, I think when it gets to that point, you just like cut people out. Not that you don't want to be friends with them, not in that sense, meaning that you just kind of go in a hideout a little bit.
Right.
Recently, you were calling me like in a panic, and I'm like, Emily, really? You do this to me how often? But I think that's just who you are. You're self-sufficient. And I think your mom raised you to be that. And so when you're going through trials that I've seen, you just kind of take care of things and you reach out when you are ready, or sometimes you just don't talk about it.
Yeah. I remember we came to your house with my last ex, and I think you were just talking and you were trying to describe me. You're like, oh, yeah, she's a loner. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is an actual accurate description of who I tend to be. Like, is that something that you guys would agree with, that I am kind of more a loner? Because I think I tend to, well, obviously I'm very introverted, but is that an accurate description of just saying that, yeah, she's a loner? Miltonia, what would you say? Because I feel like Miltonia, Rahel,
can you guys hear me? Sorry,
yeah, I can hear you.
It was frozen. I'm not sure if it was me. Are you a loner?
Huh?
Are you a loner? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Is that an accurate description? Because I was like, I like that. Like, not like I like it, but I'm proud of it. But
I mean, I think being an only child too.
Yeah.
You've learned to just you're good with being in your own company. Like you're comfortable with yourself. You're comfortable with sitting alone and internalizing whatever it is that you're going through. So, and then even as roommates, Rahel, Shadetta, they know we would be in the living room acting a fool, and you're in your room, maybe writing out your emotions and feelings. And just kind of just being by yourself, but you're okay. But you're fine. But then when you are ready to share, you share.
Yeah.
But kind of, I guess, like what y'all saying. But for the most part, when you do, I think you do like being by yourself. You enjoy it, but I think you just enjoy your own company because you're comfortable with who you are.
Yeah.
So this, like you mentioned, when you asked about this forum, my response was, this is just up your alley, because when you're ready to share, you share openly and honestly, but you have to get to that point.
And you weren't the only one. I think even Yaya said it. Yaya was like, yeah, this sounds like you, Em. Yeah, but and I think that is a good way to put it, right? Because being a loner, that resonated with me. I was like, oh yeah, that's a word for it. But it's also because, like Miltonia said, I didn't even think that the fact that I am an only child and the fact that, like, all these different variables, right? So you're looking at my background, you're looking at the fact that I am an only child. That's not something I necessarily chose, right? And then at being introverted, I mean, like, would you guys say that I am introverted? Is that something, because I could think I am, but on the outside, you guys look at me like, girl, you ain't no introvert. Is that something that you would, Hailu? Do you think I'm introverted?
I believe you're both, right? But you choose which character to play. So if you feel, just like Motoya said, if you feel like you want to be alone, there's a difference between being lonely and alone.
Yeah.
So you choose to be alone to have peace of mind, to
Yeah.
think about any topics that's running through your mind. But at the same time, you're willing to hang out with us, go out, have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would say character, but I absolutely think, and you know how I describe myself? A bubbly introvert. Because when I like you and I'm interested in what we talk about, I don't shut up. Right? That's the truth. But if not, then like I'm in my corner and I'm just like minding my business. But yeah, that's true. I am both in a way. So Toma, Toma, Toma.
Yes. I'm in and out.
So
Sorry.
I want to ask you too.
Can you hear me?
What is one moment that you saw that was just kind of like, whoa, this is a lot. Like
We can hear you but can't see you.
yeah. that was Miltonia's way of saying put your camera on.
Camera off.
Camera off for just a second so we can see your beautiful face.
For me, I'm gonna be quick because I found a good spot.
Okay.
I'm gonna be quick because I found a good spot. Sorry, Emily, I'm at work, so.
Oh, your work. Oh, my love. Oh, thank you so much for just jumping on. I so appreciate that, T.
Can you guys see me?
Oh, thank you for supporting this. I thank you so much.
Well, I'm gonna be quick. For me, it was you guys.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, Toma.
Toma, we can hear you.
No problem. Did you hear what I said?
No, actually.
You're welcome.
Toma? I can go to Maureen. Oh, no, I went to Maureen already. I'll go to Liz. Liz, what about you? Is Liz on? Okay, so I'm going to go to the next question. We'll just come back. So let's talk about the marriage itself. Is there a moment where you actually saw me and you were like, whoa, like she's not herself, like she's broken, like something is off. She's not herself. She's not making decisions like herself. Because for me, my perspective, I felt broken. I felt broken because I could not move and get out even when I felt like I should. And I felt like it was really bad. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Like, was there a moment that you saw that you were like, well, no, she's
Hello?
Toma.
I think she has connection problems.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and okay. Toma.
Emily, somebody in the chat said they want to hear from Rahel.
Who? Rahel? Rahel spoke.
That's what it says here. I want to hear from Rahel.
Yeah, Hailey spoke. Hailey spoke. But Hailey, you can go again. Is there a moment that you thought like, my friend's not herself, like something's off? I think I'm missing. Rahel.
Okay, sorry. Well, I actually didn't get an opportunity to, talk to you more often after college. Yeah. So I only knew a small period when, during the engagement, wedding, and after that we did talk a little bit, but it wasn't in depth. But we did have one conversation, and you mentioned that you were having problems in your relationship and that you've reached out to multiple people to get help, church, and any advice that you can get to solve the whatever problem that you guys were having. And I remember telling you, no, you can't give up. You have to fight for this marriage. You have to do everything that you can in your power. And it's so much easier for me to say that from the outside, but it's completely different because what you were going through was a larger scale. But I was still rooting for you and for your marriage. And I knew that you would make the right choice at the end. I knew you would make the right choice, not just for yourself and him, but for your kids as well. And I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Hailu. Oh my God, girl, I don't have tissues here because you can't. Now, okay, so I'm gonna go. Toma, is your mic ready? Because I want to get something from you at least before you have to go. So if you're ready, just put in the chat you're ready. Put in our private chat you're ready,
Hello?
and then I can call
I'm
you.
gonna be on. I'm just gonna. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I just wanted to get your input.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can see everybody.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want to go?
Oh, I was saying before my phone decided to act up. I don't know if Ben didn't like the way we were walking in, or you didn't like the way we were all walking in. And I just remember him just blowing up. He went from a 1 to a 20. And we're all looking at each other like, what's happening? I'm not remember who, but Matonia, Shah, yeah, a few girls took you to the bathroom, I guess, to talk to you there. And the rest of us that were out were just looking at each other like, what is happening? This is not how a wedding rehearsal is supposed to be. And for me, that was the first one. But yet and still, we went ahead with the wedding. You know, it was a happy moment. We're all happy for you. And you.
Oh, the connection's really bad.
I think if this girl is not okay, she needs to reach out to someone. But then at the same time, you have to remember, we're all in a different state of mind at the time. You know, we're all happy. But honestly, deep down, I was like, okay, well, if she's okay, I guess I'm okay. And we went ahead with it. So for me, that was the first time. And of course, throughout the years, I don't know if I'm going into details.
Ruby, can you please mute? Okay, I just muted her. So, Toma, so what were you guys thinking of the decision of even being like having a wedding? What happened? Like, what was going on in your mind watching me, your friend who you know has been going through this and had this big blow up on the rehearsal, actually get married to this man the next day? I'm gonna start with
Emmy, sorry. Go. What was the question?
What was your reaction, like looking at the whole blow up the day of the wedding and then having this like having the wedding actually go on? What was your reaction? What were you thinking in your head? Like, whoa, why would she do this? Why would she still get married? Like, were you thinking that? What was going on in your head? I know we were young, but like in that moment, what were you thinking?
Oh, I think Toma wants to talk. She said, "Can you unmute me?"
Oh, I didn't mute her.
Oh. For me, I just felt when we came to, I think you came to the bathroom, just like Toma is saying. You came to the bathroom while we came to you.
I'll mute myself. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. After y'all goes, I'll let you go after that.
I felt that you kind of made it seem for us that you were okay. And the fact that you're someone that I feel you know what you want. And so if you said you were okay, then for me, that was all for me. And so I wasn't surprised that you went on the next day because you said to us you were fine, and it seemed that you guys kind of made up, because the next day you know, when people are happy, you see it. You looked happy to me as a happy bride. So
Yeah.
for me, it wasn't like, and I think relationships are up and down, people fight. That wasn't like something that I felt was a hard fast that you had to walk away. That was the first blown up I'd seen and witnessed, but I didn't feel like it was something enough for you to have walked away. But also thinking back, sometimes it's the pressure of, you've set a date that everyone is in town. This is what you said you wanted. How could you have walked away? How many people really do that?
Right.
So hindsight, I could see it being like, oh, she went through with it. But I think in that moment, with how I know you, the fact that you said you were okay, I was content with it. But does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Anyone else want to add to that moment? Because I think for me, it's been such a moment of conversation that we talk about so much. Because you're right, hindsight is 2020. There are many times that I sit and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the moment I should have walked away. Why didn't I walk away? So I wanna delve into that a little bit more, or what you think, like how you perceive that moment to be, and then I can go through and talk about my mindset in that specific moment, so that we can see it from all different angles. So anyone else want to add?
Can I say something?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ruby.
Sorry, I've been having it keeps kicking me off. I don't know why. It is just me. So I've kind of missed a little bit of what you guys were talking about. But I mean, for the first part, for me, I've never ever witnessed anything but like Ben just being pleasant, you know, especially around your mother. You know, I mean, that's like one thing that I really remember, because it's always like, you know, she's trying to hug her, like Mahana, like, I mean, that name just rings in my ear over and over again. So for me personally, you know, from what the time that you guys met, I wasn't there, but I heard all about it, the fish, everything. You know, I heard Emily met a guy, so and so. But for me, I actually came to your engagement. Okay, I was there at your engagement. And for me, what I saw that I remember in that room was, I felt like you are being pressured, or you're pressured doing what you are doing. You know, even as young as I was and not being able to process everything, like what I saw, the family dynamics and everything else, you know, I felt like something wasn't straight, but I couldn't put my finger on it. You know, I can remember some of the people that were in the room, you know, you were happy, you know, and what I also saw about you was, it was more like, you know, like, oh, you were so into the wedding, you know, I want to fit into the dress, you know, I just had a baby. Like, for me personally, that's what I saw about you, because you were overly consumed as to making this right, like getting married and finally, you know, putting everything together. So I didn't really experience anything negative per se, but the little that I know, as young as I was, when I came to that engagement, everything that went on, there was just a piece of me, or a part of me, that was like something was missing. You know, is this truly what Emily really, really want? You know, because like the guy was overly in love with you. Like the love, like when I saw him and I saw you, I mean, it's like nobody can say that this guy was not in love with Emily. So that's just the little thing that I remember going back, what I saw.
So that's interesting, because to be honest, looking back, I don't think that was never really, I mean, and that's it, right? The perception of the outside,
like for me, like what's
really going on, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. So that's really interesting, because that would be one thing that I would say that for me, I don't think that was necessary. Like that in me internally being in the situation, it was never a moment of pressure ever. But like, what is it specifically that made you feel that was that situation, that it was like a pressure kind of situation?
I mean, I don't know if anybody else was there at the engagement, because I know how.
Yeah, everyone. I actually have pictures here. I have pictures of the family. I have pictures of the engagement. I have pictures of the wedding here, like right next to me.
Yeah.
And
Like
yeah,
I don't know who else was there. But
everyone
you
was
know,
there.
oh, everyone was there?
All the bridesmaids were there. Every
Oh,
single
okay.
person was there. And before I go, hi Trish. Hi, welcome.
Hey, Emily. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
So now everybody has actually made a
Right,
scene.
sure.
All 9 have come, and who are we missing right now? But like all 9 have actually made presence, and I am so grateful and so thankful for each and every one of you guys. But yeah, okay, let's go back. Everyone was there. Everyone was at the engagement. And I don't know, did anyone feel that energy of like, oh, maybe this is pressure and that's coming from a place of pressure? Because perception from outside is, and really, if we're talking about maths and we're talking about the perception of how we see Paige and people like her in these stuck situations, then, you know, we need to kind of fully examine that side of things too, of the perception that we can have on the outside, on the external. So did anyone feel that in the marriage? And you could just go ahead and just
in
go.
the mirror,
In the engagement.
In the engagement, I've always thought that you would be the first one to get married, like in our group, because you had always been that person to. I mean, I always thought that Emily would be the first one to get married. And Adwa, we should say, right?
No, you can say both. It's fine.
Okay.
That's my name.
Will be the first one to get married. Will be the first one to have kids, because that's just what you are. So I just feel like you met this guy, fell head over heels. He was in love with you. It was just the next progression of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that it was like I didn't sense that you felt pressured, because I feel like that was like, I guess maybe not pressure, but it's just the next step of things that's going to happen. Emily's going to get married. She's going to have kids, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And you can unmute. You guys can unmute. I don't want to really call on because this is something that is more so your own perception. So, and everybody was there. Every single one of you guys were there at the engagement. So if you guys felt something, you could just unmute and just speak.
I think for me, it was the night that you were going to get engaged, and Latoya, Shadetta, myself, and you, we drove to Ben's place, and just out of nowhere, you two had an altercation. Mm-hmm. And it was, for me personally, it was aggressive because he was yelling, shouting, and screaming at you. And at the same time, you were trying to communicate with him. You were trying to have intellectual conversation, trying to solve whatever problem you guys had. You were trying to find solution to it. And he would just, it was as if he was barking. And I've never seen him in that situation before. So it kind of took me, you know, like out of nowhere. I was just shocked. But it was funny because I thought it was ironic because he knew that that day was a special day for the both of you, that he was going to propose to you that night at the club. Obviously, you didn't know. So I felt like he should have, you know, whatever problem it was, he could have put it aside and talked about it at a different day and trying to make that night as special as he can. But I didn't even feel like standing there watching you guys argue. I didn't feel like there was any resolution. You guys just separated, went your separate way. And at the same time, it made me feel as if what makes him think that that he's so comfortable in the environment of yelling and screaming in front of the three of us standing in the kitchen. So I was wondering to myself, like, is this something that they do on a regular basis, or is it just today? And I just thought, oh, just a casual argument, and they're back, and he's going to propose that night, and everything will be fine. So that was just my perspective.
Okay.
I was like, we were so young, okay? So, and Emily always been like, and as Miltonia mentioned, like we were young, like in college, like playing music, hanging out, and Emily's like writing in her journal her feelings. She's been that extra like emotional. Let's think about this decision before you sure you want to go out there. Like, yes, we want to go and.
Yep.
And
you guys got me, huh? Because I saw Miltonia laughing when Rahel was talking about she was trying to intellectualize. Okay.
So in that sense, like me, like in retrospect now, looking at it, like those should have been red signs. Like those should be red flags rather. But like when I was there and when it was happening, I was just thinking that this is Emily always trying to like assess Ben, and like you may have contributed to why he blew up. That's what I was thinking at that point, when like at that point, being young and that age, because that's what you are. And Ben wasn't like, he's a very nice guy, but he's like rough around the edges. Is not so like emotional and stuff. And Emily's like uber emotional. So you have to kind of, and you know and I don't know if this is like the other person that I felt like, Joe was like so emotional, and then you were so emotional. That was such a emotional relationship. And I feel like moving from Joe and going to Ben, you have to kind of like reconfigure how emotional you could be. I don't know.
But there was Anthony in the middle. So how does that play?
In the middle.
How does that play? Because I think we're touching on some good points, right? So we're looking at it from the perspective of the fact that I am very emotional. And would I even say emotional? I don't think I would say emotional. I'll just say that I'm really in my head. Like I really like to process things. That would be a good analysis, right? Because you guys are seeing me from the outside. I think that's just what I'm in my head, and I like to analyze things. Yeah. And I like to break things down and literally like truly process it. And you were saying that should have been a red flag. What about that is something that should be a red flag? Like if someone is just really someone who just wants to process every single thing.
What do you mean? I don't understand the question. It should have been the thing that I was saying should have been a red flag was that how he blew up. But he was so nice. And then like 2 seconds later, it would be something that he's going off on. But I just thought at that young age, I was like, oh, maybe something just happened. Emily was just over analyzing him and he became annoyed. You know what I'm saying? But now in retrospect, someone should not be switching back and forth. Your mood should not be going back and forth in that short span of time. Like as an adult looking at that's not a normal behavior.
Right.
But at that point, I thought that maybe it was something that he's not used to, that Emily's used to, and they're just clashing.
Right. Yeah.
Emily.
Yes.
I think Candace or someone asked like a really good question.
Thank you.
That I think I would love to hear the answer about. Did you want us to say something? If we talk about Ruby, because I didn't know Ruby felt that way.
Yeah.
Interesting to hear that was her perspective at such a young age, what she thought. And I think at that stage, a lot of us were just so excited, like our friends getting married. Oh, we're going to be bridesmaids. And, just all the stuff that we don't really think about when you're older and you really get into the thick of marriage. So at that stage, like she was asking, would you have wanted us to say something?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And again, to put things in perspective, I was the first one to get married out of every single person. And it just puts it in a place of like, oh my gosh, we actually have a wedding to go to. And then you place it with the whole fact that ever since forever, we were like, oh, Emily's going to be the first one to get married. So that in itself was just kind of like, this is just the progression of life. But did I want you guys to say something? I didn't even know I was in a place where I needed you guys to say something. And that's the situation. I didn't know the gravity of the situation I was in, because for me, like you guys said, I was processing it as I went. But the fact of the matter looking back is that I wasn't processing it fast enough as it was happening. And so then it was like a backlog where now I'm stuck. Right? I wasn't processing it fast enough. And so I was stuck and it was piling up. And I had no other choice but to just be broken. Because when you pile things on too much, literally that's what you get. So I didn't even know I needed someone to advocate for me. I didn't know if I needed you guys to speak up. I didn't know until it had just happened and I was just consumed. And even in that point of consumption, it was more so trying to find myself and find my voice again. And that's the reason why, for me, it's so important to create the safe space. Now, listen, there are going to be people who are going to say negativity and they're going to spew negativity. And that's fine. That's their opinion. But my thing is that for me, I just want to speak louder so that people can hear through all the negativity, that really your first priority is to tune that out and to find you. Find your voice. Because once you find your voice and you find your place, then you can actually think for yourself and you can receive the information that people are giving you. Who knows if I would have even been able to have received what you guys would have said to me. I may not have been in a place where I would have been able to receive it. Right? I may not have been there, but to answer that question, I didn't even know I needed someone to advocate for me because I didn't know I didn't know the road I was going on. Now I want to go back and talk about the day before the wedding, right? Because I remember the blow up. The blow up was over music. And again, I'm going to say this because this is Father My Children. We're not trying to demonize him. So anyone watching out there, that's not what this is about. This is about me, my journey, and anybody else who's in a position like me. So with this day, the music was playing, and I think I saved it on a laptop. But when we went to go play it, the pastor was supposed to play it. The music wasn't there. And I know I saved it. But because he's more computer savvy, he's like, no, if you saved it, it would have been here, would have been here, would have been there, would have been here. And the level of overwhelming, just it literally, he blew up. He blew up in a way that I had never seen him blow up, because even the pastor could not calm him down. And that point, that's when I remember going to the bathroom and thinking, I remember so clearly looking myself in the mirror. And that was the moment of no return, obviously, because the next day we were married. But I walked into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I was like, do you know what you're doing? Like, do you know what you're signing up for? Do you know what you're getting into? Do you know? And obviously the question it wasn't answered because I didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know how things were happening. I couldn't process it fast enough to even ask for help. Right. So for me, that really was what was going on in my head. And I think that's really what happened. But I really do respect the perspective that you had, Ruby, of that maybe it was pressured. I don't know. For me, being in it, I can wholeheartedly say that was not it, that it was more of a pressure thing. It wasn't, because I loved him. And I believe he loved me. So I think it was just bad behavior, right? We both had bad behavior, obviously. And hopefully that's one of the things that people can pick from there, right? Like, just, you guys were saying, staying in my own head, right? Sometimes you may have to push yourself out your comfort zone a little bit and not necessarily be so much in your head, and just try to be more proactive and reaching out and having a support system, a social network, a social support system. That could be something that you may have to push yourself, maybe make a quota for yourself, at least once a month. You get out with your girlfriends and you do something that is fulfilling to your soul. And even if it's not fulfilling to your soul, just get out with your girlfriends. And because how many times were you guys going somewhere and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna just stay home.
Remember that. I remember those times. Because then we were doing stuff and you were just being a wife and staying home. And I was like,
that was my character, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. But the point is to kind of push yourself a little bit outside that character, right? But go on, Shadetta, you were talking.
Oh no, I was just saying that I felt like, yes, Emily likes to be by herself. Yes. And that's what she thrived. Like, I feel like being by yourself, you sit down and you assess yourself and you write your emotions and you figure things out that way. That's how you process things, from what I know, or from what I knew. And then after you've like resolved things or figure things out, then you kind of reemerge. Okay. Yes. And so then, but you would still come out, and not like come out, but when you come out, you'll still reach out. But then I felt like at some point during the marriage, you just like really like pulled so back, so far away. And I was like, I kept on trying to reach you. And I was like, and then what made me so concerned the most, I when you guys were dating is when I had a lot of interactions with you two. When you guys became actually married, which again, as a young adult, I was like, okay, it's marriage life. You know, they figured things out between the two of them. She's not like Emily was my best friend. So I was like, okay, she's not going to talk to me about all her marriage stuff. Cause like married people talk to like married people, and I wasn't married. So she wouldn't come and talk to me about it. So that was, which was fine. And I learned
that was your mentality at that point.
Yes, exactly. But what really made me concerned about you, and I never seen like, I think Miltonia had episodes where she said like you would come to their house like late at night, like crying and stuff like that. I never had that interactions with you because you never called me when you were in those crises. What made me concerned was you started having these really bad panic attacks. You used to, and then at that point, then you started calling me. You used to say your breath stinks. You want to see a doctor. You were using these, and you were asking me questions. We were researching things to figure out what's causing the metal taste in your mouth. I was like, what is going on with Emily? There's nothing wrong with your breath.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I
was like,
remember that.
something is going on with her. And then I was like, okay, so then it's like anxiety. You were having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out the root cause of it.
I remember that. It's so funny
that's what made me scared for you. I was like, something is not right in that marriage. It's sending this girl. She's beginning to like lose her mind.
I literally did.
But I didn't know what led you to that. I just was concerned that you were having these attacks, and I didn't know what the root cause was, because whenever I try to reach out to you, again, you were trying to process it. So which is an Emily thing. She'll try to process it, internalize it, and figure it out before she talks to anybody else.
Yeah. I literally did. Well, I wouldn't say I lost my mind, but I broke. And I remember specifically the day I broke, because you guys know he has a radio station, a Liberian radio station, and I was on it, and I had a channel. I had a channel on there where we talked about relationships, and not even a channel. I had a day that I would come on and I would broadcast. And I remember that whole week he was just badgering me about something. I couldn't even, like, it was intense. But again, I remember being on the program, and literally in the midst of the program, it literally felt like the light bulb just went out. Like literally, like the light bulb just literally went out. And it was a breakdown. It was an actual breakdown. And that was the beginning of my journey with therapy. And I had to go find therapy because I knew that I could not be, it's not self-sustaining. I can't be walking through this shadow of myself, just disjointed in the way that I was. And I had to go get therapy, if not for myself, at least for my children. And so this was one of those moments. And I don't know, I think this really takes it to a good place. Like, was there a moment, because Shadetta just explained that moment where she was really, really, really worried for me. And another thing that I want to say is that, like all of you guys have echoed, so many times you would ask me how you're doing, and my first sentence would be, I'm okay. Because I don't even think I really would process the question. I think it was just, I'm okay. Like, I'm alive, I'm okay, I'm feeding my kids. Like, it literally was just my response. It wasn't a true response to the question. It was almost as if I was on like autopilot, just saying these things. So for me, that was a very, those moments were, they were heavy. And I think I want to ask you guys, was there another moment? Okay, so I lost my train of thought for a little bit. What I really wanted to say with regards to saying that I'm okay when I'm really not is that Miltonia, I would really say Miltonia was one of those people who would be like, no, you're not okay. Like, what's going on? And the thing about it is, like, we have different roles that we play in our lives, right? There are different roles that we each play in our lives. And I think that it was just one of those situations where she probed a little bit more, because whether it was my inflection, whether it was, and she was the one that lives closest. So whether it was my inflection, whether it was the way that I would say I'm not okay, or I am okay, for her, it wasn't good enough in that moment. And so she would ask, no. So what was it, Millie? What was it that would make you probe a little bit deeper? Like, no, your mouth is moving, but I don't believe you.
I think naturally, if I'm like really good friends with you, I feel people's energy. I feel your energy, and I get this obsession where I kind of know when something's off. And like I mentioned before, and you said you've always been the person to say you're okay. And even if things are like dark and heavy, you'll say you're okay, and you'll smile, and then you'll switch and say, well, how are you? And then you'll try to help someone else without knowing that you're going through what you're going through. You'll push yourself to the side, and you'll just focus in on somebody else's issues to help them. So I think for me, I mean, Shadetta said, you guys, she was more so involved during the dating stages. And I think I was more so involved during the marriage. So I don't, and I think for me, it was the time that Shadetta's talking about that you came over. I mean, we had a lot of conversations about what was going on. And I know for Shadetta and I used to have conversations too, because she was kind of like, I keep reaching out. She doesn't say anything. I keep reaching out, but I didn't want to tell her what was going on because it wasn't my place to, but I kept trying to tell her, just be patient with her. Like, just be patient with her. But I just kept kind of talking to you and asking you because I just knew you weren't fine. Like, you just weren't you. And then that time you came over to the house.
So before you finish, I just want to go ahead. What was it that you were picking up? Like, I'm not okay. Like, I know it's the energy, and I get that because I understand. But like, specifically, what was it that you were picking up?
I mean, I guess it would just kind of more so like I was closer. So like you mentioned, so I used to come over, and it was just how you were, I guess, like your vibe. I guess how you would say you're okay, but it wasn't that. You're very animated naturally. You're like, hey, how you doing? Remember in college, I told you freshman year, I said, nobody can be this nice. Remember, that was my thing. I was like, you're being fake. There's no way you're
Everyone who doesn't really know me thinks I'm fake. That's just the personality.
I was like, he's not, there's no one this nice. There's no one this nice, but no, genuinely, you really are this nice. And not that you weren't so nice anymore, but you just weren't that, hey, how are you doing? I'm good. How are you? Da, da, da. It was just like, oh, I'm good. And that was it. Like, I'm good. Like, when you answer like that and you're just like, how are you? That's when it triggers me that something isn't right versus I guess there's a more of a pep in your step or in your voice. And that's how I know you're happy. But when it's just like, I'm good and silence, then for me, that's my cue from just knowing you that something isn't right and something is off. And I'm gonna have to hop off soon, but just
yeah. And we're about to get to the end anyway, because my whole thing, and this is not a one-time conversation. This conversation, it can continue with just by myself or with you guys, but my whole thing is to bring the perspectives, because I could sit here and talk all day about the things I went through, but some of these perspectives I didn't even have because I was stuck in it, right? I didn't have these perspectives. And another thing that I want to say is that I don't want friends to feel like they all have to be that friend that probes. Like, the beauty of life and the beauty of design is that we all have different roles that we play in people's lives. So if you're not the one to be what's going on, I didn't feel your energy, how are you feeling, to be the one who, quote unquote, somebody would say was the savior or whatever, because in that moment you were my lifeline. You were absolutely my lifeline, Miltonia, because of the things that you were able to push out of me, just because it's not my nature to spew those things out, right? So it's not to say that no other friend is less important, or even outside, like, just for people watching this, the viewers, I don't want them to feel that one friend is more important or less, or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, so I'm not. It's just that we have to be able to understand that we all play different parts in the lives of our friends, right? Like you were saying, Shadetta got me through the other relationship part. You got me through the marriage, right? Hailu was at a part. I remember Hailu played a part when I moved out from the dorms and I had my own apartment. Hailu and I were close to that. Like there have been times when Patricia and I have been super close. When I was dating Anthony, we were super close. And like, so there's this like symbiotic relationship, right? But because it's a journey of life, right? We're flowing, and we're coming in contact with each other in tighter spaces than maybe some other spaces. So I just want to make that clear, that it doesn't take away from the importance of every single one of you 9, and even more out there who were parts of my life. But I really...
That's your question?
Yes.
What made you finally leave? Because I don't remember you talking to, I don't know who you spoke to, but what made you finally leave? Trish.
Patricia, I see your face.
Hey.
Ah! Okay. All right. Okay. So that was going to be my last question. I think I sent you guys the question, so you guys know. I wanted to see your perspective on when you thought, yeah, Emily's back. Like, yeah, she's back. So yeah, I'll get that, because I will answer that. That's a great question. I'm going to go ahead and answer that. And then, no, I'm going to ask you guys this last question, and then I'm going to go ahead and answer that, because I think that was like the aha moment. Like, okay, girl, like, yeah, we got to get it together. Oh, I love you guys so much for all trying to make this and actually really making it. Like 9 of you guys making it and being in the space. I can't express how grateful I am. So let me go ahead and start asking. I'll start with Rahel, and I literally just go down. What was the moment that you were like, yeah, Emily's back? If you had that moment, cool. If you didn't, fine. But like, what was that moment? Because there was a breakdown. Okay, a mental breakdown and a physical breakdown, emotional, like all round breakdown. But I came back. So what was the moment?
I felt like when we had like a Zoom meeting, the 4 of us, Shadetta,
last year,
Lily, and I know it seems look, because we don't talk on a regular basis. So every time I send you a text, I send you a text to say happy birthday, to say hi, how are you? I don't really get a respond back because I know you're busy. Right? So I felt like when I actually had your full attention last year, and I could actually see your face, and all 4 of us were talking and communicating, you just seemed like your old self, upbeat, just full of excitement, and you had all these plans. And I just felt like, yeah, that's the Emily that I've known all these years. And I was so happy for you, and I was so proud of you. And I just want to say thank you for, just giving us this opportunity to share everything about your life. And I know it's personal, but I know that it's going to touch not only us, but everyone that's watching it is going to be touched by this. And they'll be able to share information, not just with their friends, but family. So it's going to reach out to everyone. And you're just like a little flower that's blossomed fully. And I appreciate you for everything that you've done. And I love you.
You're not doing this. I'm about to cut your mic off because you're not doing this. Okay, Hailu, you're not doing this. Okay, you not have me in these YouTube streets crying and looking a mess. Okay, no, I'm trying to break through and make some changes up in here. You would not have me starting to be a meme up in here, like crying. No, Hailu. Okay, thank you. So, I love you too. Love you. And thank you so much for helping me with this ministry, this calling that I'm feeling. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
We can't hear you, Show. Unmute yourself.
When did I know you were back? So you know, with the course of your marriage, our relationship kind of fizzled out.
Deteriorated a little.
Yeah. So I knew when you left because Ben started contacting us. And I was like, oh, and then I tried to reach you again several times. And I knew that, oh, this is, there's a lot going on with you and everything. So I honestly can't tell when I knew you were back to being yourself. I did a couple, probably after you and Ben separated and you informed us that you were going through like with the divorce and everything. I think one of the girls from VCU were having some sort of function because I hadn't seen you in a while. And then you were there and you seemed very happy and kind of like figuring things back again. But I can't pinpoint the exact year or when it was, but I know it was an occasion where like the bunch of VCU people were all together. And that was the first time I had seen you since after the separation. Yeah. And then you had the new relationship with the new guy, the guy after Ben, which I don't even know his name. But you seem to have been doing really well with him. And for some reason, even though I didn't know him, he kind of seemed like a Joe to me. So I was like, oh my gosh, this may have been because Joe was
his name is Theo. I don't know if he wants me to say his name, but
yeah. So I saw you with the relationship with him. I think it had just started. You seem to have been happy in the beginning of that relationship. So that's when I was like, okay, she's back to being Emily and her bubbly self and dating. That would be when I thought you were back to yourself.
Yeah. Okay, Ruby, you're next because I'm going square by square.
The question, I want to make sure I understand the question so I can answer it right. You're saying, when did we notice that like the old Emily is back?
Mm-hmm. After the breakdown and the breakdown of every aspect of me. After that, when did you notice that I was back? Like, yeah.
I honestly speaking, I don't know if I can say that you were back. Okay.
That I am back?
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that. I can use an example of a day that I met you that I can say that. Because the thing is, we don't get to spend that much time with the Emily that we know to really know that all the four corners are back. We get to see a side of Emily that Emily will show us. Okay, so for me, the time that I can use that the time that we met at TGI Friday, when I told you guys I was pregnant, this was like 3 years ago.
Pregnant with which child?
With my third.
Okay.
When we met, when I was trying to get some of the girls to get together, and we had that dinner, and you left us. Remember?
Okay, yes. I remember. Okay, I remember.
Yes. Yeah, so to begin, like, I'm just saying that sometimes it's like I don't feel like I have the whole Emily for me to say that Emily is completely back. That day when I saw you, it had been so long since I had seen you, so it was one of those times that, we have missed you for so long. And then when I asked you to come, you came. And like, I was like beyond blown out, like excited just to see you, just to see Emily again. And like Shadida said, that was when you actually told us about the relationship that you're in.
Yeah.
Which is with you.
Right.
Okay? So, and it just the glow in your face, like the excitement in your face, like you just couldn't wait to share who this new person is, right. And you give us a little snippet about, what had been going on. So like in my heart felt happy because I felt like, oh my gosh, like she has found love again, right. With everything that she has been through, Little did I know that the day that you left, I wasn't going to see you for another like 9 years. Yeah, and I was expecting you to come back because I never got to even like squeeze you or hug you the way I wanted because it was more like a transient moment. I have not seen you so long. You showed up. I knew you were happy. I felt the joy in your voice, like from head to toe. You were excited. So I wanted to kind of learn more about who this man was. And then you brought him to our get together that Mary hosted.
Yeah.
So that was when it was solid for me, with, the things that you shared with me about him. I was like, thank you, Lord. This is it, the dynamics of everything else. But for me to say that was the side I would say that Emily was back. But like I said, I never get to enjoy my Emily for that long to know that the whole four corners are intact. So
I see what you're saying. I think when you first said it at first, I'm like, wait, oh, Ruby, like we're talking, we do sister to sister, like how? But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna put words in your mouth. So if I say something that does not resonate, please correct me. But I feel that my titles have been changing, right? And because my titles have been changing and being a single mom and like, trying to be a boss mom, quote unquote, and trying to like play all these roles, there are times where you don't get to see, the Emily that, would be dancing with you or would be, and I have evolved a little bit too, right? To be a little bit more assertive in a way that and again, as I'm saying, this is the reason why I didn't want to do this by myself, because I could sit here and I could talk about myself all day, every day, but the perspective and the audience receiving it may be receiving it differently.
It was
beautiful. You guys can correct me in that space if you need to, but I just feel like you're right. You may not have seen all parts of me just because, titles have been changing. Sometimes I'm in mom mode. Sometimes I'm in boss mode. These days, when I go MIA, it's not only because I'm struggling with something. It may be because I'm stacking my coins.
I wish my next thing that I would want you to maybe do something about next time, because we don't have enough time here, is I really want to know this MIA, what this really is.
The MIA is really making sense of things.
Yeah, none of us really understood it,
Yeah.
It was so hard for us to grasp it because we are, this is our friend, this is somebody we love. Your heart beats with us. Like we enjoy you, we love you, but it's like you never allowed any of us to even help or even because our heart yearned to know what you were going through. Like till now, I'm a space where you can come and we can talk about it. We can share things, like you can help me, you can do all of this. But that MIA thing still gets me up till today.
But
to the point where I feel like something is wrong. Like one day I showed up at your door.
I know.
I can't because Mary was like, no, you guys need to go because it had been way too long. I showed up at your door, knock at your door, and then your nephew shows up. And he didn't even give you the message.
But Ruby, I actually
my house.
So
I actually
hold on, Liz.
That's a very valid
actually
point. And Liz wants to talk, but like that's a very valid point, and I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay.
I actually understand the MIA, because sometimes when you're going through certain things, you want that space. You want that space. Like for me, I know I can't talk to a lot of people about it. I have to think, and the best time that I can think is when I don't share what I'm going through with everyone. I feel like there are times that you have to share what you're going through, but there are also times where it's really therapeutic to really just spend time with yourself and think things through and figure out a solution. So I don't think I was a friend that ever asked you a bunch of questions about what's going on. And I hope you didn't see that as a bad thing. I never asked you a lot of questions because I feel like when you're ready, you would talk about it. Now, I have to give credit to the friends that were asking a lot of questions. I don't see anything wrong with that. It just wasn't my thing. So how did you feel about that?
Yeah, for me, um again, and this is the part that I was talking about in the beginning, right? We are made of all these bricks that are stacking up to make us who we are. So I have this one brick of being a single child, and I have this brick of being an actual introvert, and I have a brick of my mom not talking to anyone, and I watch that, and I have these little, and I have this brick of just being like an intellectual, like I like to just be stuck in my head trying to make sense of it. Because if I can't make sense of it in my head, I actually can't communicate it to you. Right. And this is a bad habit. Right. I have to be able to get to a place where it doesn't necessarily have to make sense to me. I just need to spew it out to someone. And this is something that I'm learning, right? But because we're made up of these bricks that build up to make us who we are, there are times where after your bricks are laid, you just are susceptible to brokenness, just because your bricks are just made of these variables that just equal that, right? So for me, the MIA thing is like, if I need to figure something out, like that's why I'm saying nowadays it's about stacking coins. Because right now, if I need to make some money move, right, because I am introverted, it's hard for me to extend energy out of myself when I'm trying to plan something. My mind, that's just how it works, right? You guys know Elijah. Elijah's my oldest son. He's literally that same way. And because I know how detrimental it can be, I try to push him out of his comfort zone a little bit, because you can't just be stuck in a negative habit and just call it who you are. That's not growth. That's not self-actualization, right? And the reason why I call this place unlearning is because I know I have terrible habits, right? Terrible habits that may not be like, I'm about to go steal somebody's money, but they're terrible habits that just are not helpful to me living a fulfilling life. So I need to unlearn a lot of these so that I can pick up the good habits that may help me, whether it's my nature or not, right? And my MIA, when things get heavy, anything gets heavy, relationship gets heavy, work gets heavy, the kids get heavy, stacking money gets heavy. Like when things get heavy, I pull back so I can get more energy to focus inside, so I can process how to move forward and how to make my next move.
So you actually think it's a bad thing to go MIA?
I think for me it is. I think for me, no, I'm going to take it back. I think depending on the reason why you're going MIA, like when I go MIA and I'm stacking my money up these days, I let you, and you know what? Yeah, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because you're alienating your friends from you. What if someone else needs you in that moment? I think there should be a balance. Like if I can at least give myself, and I think for me going forward, that's what I'm starting to do. Because even with my last relationship, which started out amazing, and I would say one thing, if I never love again, that love and that space of being my full true self, because I was in the beginning of that relationship, was so fulfilling. It was so filling. It was so full that I am full because I could be my true self, right? I could be my full self. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that you have to push outside of the parameters that holds you back. And for me, and for any woman, I would even say, just give yourself at least one day out of the month that you go and you connect with your girlfriends, that you go and you don't even have to talk about the problems. Just go and just do something silly. Just go eat and laugh and joke and just get it out. And I think that is healthy. I think the pulling in and the MIA, I do think in totality, it is not. And I really had to think it through as I was talking, guys. So.
Well, I don't think. Sorry to interrupt. I think it's okay to go MIA, but like, it's the way that you do it, Emily. The way you do it is so drastic, and like even when people reach out to you, you don't even. And you when you need to figure. I feel like when anyone in general, I think people need their time to figure things out on their own, process things. Everyone is entitled to that. I don't think that's bad. I think like if someone just like I'm okay, or like something just to say, because people get worried
Okay.
Like me and Ruby used to get worried about you.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the MIA differently. Because for me, when I think MIA, literally you're missing in action. But then again, that's because that's my MIA, right? Right. That's the scope from which I am understanding that word, because that is literally my MIA.
It's the type of MIA.
Exactly. So maybe that's another conversation we need to have. You're right, Ruby, to talk about the different nuances of MIA, because mine is legit. MIA, like she is missing in action. We can't trace her. There are no footprints. It's like Bigfoot. We don't know if it's real or not. Like she is gone. And then she doesn't even have an online presence that we can say, here she is here, or gone. She's gone. Right. But I think I've made it a point to communicate. Especially with Ruby, because I know Ruby will come find me. I made it a point to communicate to her. But for me, that's a bad habit. But then again, it's because of the severity of my MIA. That is a totally bad habit that needs to be broken. So yeah, you guys are right. It may just be the definition of what MIA is. My MIA is just wrong. So if you're doing that, wrong. Don't do it. Don't just ghost some. That's ghosting. You literally ghost your friends. And that's really terrible, because I love y'all. Y'all know that. Like, I love y'all. And the fact that I could be ghosting y'all for so long, like, that's breaking y'all's heart. That is not a healthy relationship. And that's something that I have to absolutely publicly apologize to every single one of you guys. I literally will break your hearts. Miltonia, I don't know how many events I have missed of yours. And I am so sorry. Patricia, I've missed so many births. I am so sorry. Sometimes I don't even remember some of the kids' names, because I literally legit just go MIA. So I am apologizing to every single one of you guys. I know I've done it on text, but I'm doing it in person, because this is a bad behavior. And what I'm realizing is that I need you guys. I need my girls. And even though it's not in my nature, I am going to have to be more intentional about building these relationships that fulfill me, instead of making a man that, right? Because it's not that I'm going to, like, my intention is not I'm going to go make a man that. But especially with this last relationship, because I never had a foundation of building these relationships. And I have so much fun with him, because that was such a fulfilling relationship. He just easily fell into the friend, like playing that friend part, right? So going forward, that's what I've learned. And yeah, anyone else? I think, no, I was going Trish. Trish, when was the moment that you felt like Emily's back?
Oh boy. It was at Christmas dinner with the girls.
Yeah.
And Peter and I sat next to you, and we were just going at it. You were laughing, making jokes. You were just genuinely happy with the guy. I'm not going to mention his name. But it was that, because I saw you when it was over with Anthony, and then I saw you when you began with Ben, and then I saw you again when you told me that it was over with Ben. And then I didn't see you again until, I guess, maybe in between certain events, and then I didn't see you again until the new guy. So it was then. I was like, yeah, Emily's back.
Yeah. Okay. Toma.
Yellow.
Hi. When did you were like, yeah, Emily's back?
Thank you. What's the question?
When was the time you're like, yes, Emily's back? Because I feel like you saw me through my brokenness too. Like, you were one of those that actually really saw my brokenness as it was happening. So when did you see me again and was like, yeah, she's back? Some of these hospitals don't want you to talk today, huh?
I mean, I talked to you when you met this. Can you hear me?
Huh? Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like there's like dead silence in between. So I'm not sure if you're talking or you're not, and we're not hearing you.
Okay. Oh. No, I'm talking. I'm gonna talk. Yeah, as you said, I saw you through it all, and when I knew I had Emily back was when George Weah came in your life, the new guy.
Did she say George Weah?
George Weah. So we're all in this. Okay, George Weah. Yeah, apparently he looks like George Weah. Okay.
I met back in 2006.
George Weah came in my life, and that's when you knew that I was back because I was happy. That's what you're saying.
Yes, I did, y'all. Because I kid you not, he looks like George Weah.
He looks like George. Okay, Tuba.
Well, yes, because you told me how you were your true self with him.
Yeah.
And then when I finally
would you agree? Because you saw me with him. Would you agree that was what it was? Like it wasn't, because you know how sometimes you move from a different relation, and there was space in between my old relationship and this one. Like there was space. Like I was 4 years celibate, like in between those relationships. So there was space. And I don't want it to seem as if it was like, you just jumped in and now the guy made you happy. That's my perception. Like I know that my perception is that that's not what happened. So do you think that it was like I was truly my full self there, or was it just me just being delusional?
Oh no.
Timas?
I mean, yes, you were. Of course, you're taking time, but I felt like the Emily that I know that I met was not really back yet, and it's understandable because you had just come from a relationship that it took you a long time to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
And girl, I commend you for. I don't know if I can go through what you've been through. Saying that, the Emily that I know that I met. I remember when Yas described you. He said, "Oh, she's been knowing you for your whole life." And I kid you not, that is exactly the Emily I met. I think it was somewhere on Georgia Avenue at one of these clubs. And
it's almost so hard to hear you. You're breaking up.
Had that, Benno and all this. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're just breaking up. It's hard to hear.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I see y'all. I see Rahel. I see you, Shadetta. I see you, Emily.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
For me, that was when I felt George Weah, and you told me, and I heard it in your voice, the way you were with him. Yes, he did make you happy, but I feel like you guys made each other happy.
Aw. Oma, we're having a hard time hearing.
Can you hear me?
You're just going in and out.
Are you at work?
Sorry.
Yeah, she's at work.
Okay.
Which is just like so amazing that you can even hop on at work. Oh, Toma. I could just squeeze you right now. Oh. Toma, I can't hear you. So maybe you can type it in the chat or something. I don't even know, because I knew it was going to be a juicy story. It was like Yas barbecue, or I can't even remember. It was probably going to be a juicy story, but I can't hear. So I'm gonna go to Miltonia. Hi, Toma.
Oh,
okay.
Talk to Toma then.
Toma, we can't hear you. Take the mask off.
So I'm gonna move to Miltonia because I can hear you. Maybe you can type in the chat and then someone can read it. That could work. But I'm gonna go to Miltonia. I love you, Toma. Miltonia?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Type it in the chat,
Can you guys hear me?
Toma, and we could read
Okay.
it.
Well, I'm good, right? I can talk, or?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Well, I moved to California about 6 years ago, so I haven't really, I don't think we've seen each other since, right? Really, because we missed each other.
Yeah.
Anytime I've been home to visit, and because you were going through a lot. But we've kept in touch here and there for the most part. So I can only talk more so after the when things were going. I think when you were starting to get a hold of yourself, and my story's a little different because I didn't meet your ex.
Yeah.
You told me about him, but I never met him.
Yeah.
But I felt like you started to become Emily again to me, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Or Ajua. You started to push back when things were happening in the house, that you just felt like, oh no, I'm not taking this anymore.
In my marriage.
That would be more in your marriage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In your marriage, leading up to it ending and moving on. It was just, you weren't taking it anymore. You weren't going to stand for it. You were, I am woman, hear me roar. I am me. I deserve this. I deserve that. And you just became your own. And you got back to that person that, I don't know how to say it, but you just got back to yourself, to me.
Yeah.
But like I said, since that would be when I would say you started getting back to like yourself, when you started to push back and not accept whatever didn't serve you.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's referring to your last relationship. Like I said, I didn't meet him, but I do remember you telling me about him, and you did seem happy. But I think by that time, I think you were already back to yourself. Maybe you things happen that you, I don't want to say lost yourself again. I don't want to say that, but I felt like I felt like you healed, became yourself, and then entered that new relationship.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's accurate. And that's another thing that I want to say. I want to make this distinction, because I think you were trying to hit on that. Right? Being broken and having a breakdown are two different things. Like, I was broken in my marriage. Like, I wasn't broken getting into it per se, but I got broken in my marriage. And I did heal. I didn't heal fully when I get out, but I was healing. And even when I met my ex, I was fully healed. I have had breakdowns with that relationship, but I wasn't broken. There was no part of me in my last relationship, thankfully, that I would say I was broken. So yeah, I think that's a really good point that you brought, Meltonia. Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, Meltonia, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can I say one more thing?
I hear you.
To my boo Liz. No, I don't appreciate your MIA. I miss you. Thank you.
She's not even here. Where did she go? Oh, she may be taking care of the babies. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But, no problem.
Yeah. So, but what she's saying is my MIA is not on the same level as Emily's MIA. I think that's what she's trying to say. She's like, listen, there are levels. Okay. There are levels to this. But still, Meltonia's saying she does not appreciate it. I just want to make sure that that message is relayed, Ma Lizzie. So just the messenger. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think for me, when you came back to the Emily I know, I had a little bit of a different experience. I mean, I really kept in contact with you and Theo where you were in that relationship. Yeah. Because he only lived down the street from me.
Like walking this, like we would walk the dog and we literally would be knocking on your door.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've always said this about you, that I think you have moments that you, just like everyone has said, it resonates the same thing. Like, I don't hear from you, but I don't get too worried. I always feel like I know that I will hear back from you, and it would always be like you didn't miss a beat in my life, or I didn't miss one in your life. And I've accepted that to be, that's how you are. But when you were with Theo, I still have your name saved in my phone as Emily Sowell, because in my mind I was like, I don't believe it, you're not divorced. But then I saw you with him, and the dynamic was like completely different. I mean, I've been to his house and had dinner with you, him, my husband, and his family, where I was like, no, Emily is serious about this. I mean, his kids along with your kids, it was like a family unit. And that was when I think I accepted that your divorce is truly over and this is where you are. And there have been times that I wouldn't reach you when I reach out to you, and I will walk there sometimes and just say, hey, let me go see if Emily is there. And I've walked in one time where you were there. But I think that I saw you back to yourself, and I would say maybe that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That I saw that beginning of that relationship and truly believed that this is what you wanted, and you were happy with him. And you know, like, I've run into him without you, and
yes,
the love
it comes back to me.
Yes. It's always one way or another. I think you guys aren't talking anymore, and he's like, oh, I'm on my way to pick up Camille to do her nails or something.
Yeah, and we're still not even, like, we're like fighting, and he's coming over. That's the thing. It's literally, it was like, it is a marriage. It's like a marriage of the families. Like, we're not married, but like, I love his sister's actually in the chat. I love his family, and I think his mom probably popped in too. Like, I love his family, and it gets a little tricky that way, but love is love, right? And family is family. Like, not only blood can be family. So, yeah. Anything else you want to add? Yeah.
I love you.
You guys stop, okay?
And I'm really proud that you do. I mean, I asked you, what's the point of this? What is this really for? But it's as much as we talk about it and it's therapeutic for you, it also is, because it's a self-reflection and how the dynamics of our relationships, and how much there are times that, just like you kind of said, that I wanted to see you as a friend and talk to you as a friend, that you weren't reachable. But I also respect that you had a lot going on, and sometimes that's just what it is. So
yeah, but you live and you learn, and I'm learning that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
And so I have to be more proactive in changing that, because that's not the way to go. The love that you guys have for me and I have for you does not deserve me just MIAing in the way that I do. And so I absolutely have to do better. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you guys for loving me, though. Thank you for loving me. Patricia. And I want to say something. Liz's last child is actually called Emily, y'all. Like, right? Like, you know how sometimes you have a child, you want to name him a name, and you're like, I know.
Girl, you scared. For me, you scared.
I know so-and-so. I don't think I want to do that. This child is called Emily. I love y'all so much. Okay, let me go to Patricia. Patricia.
Wait a second, I already went.
Hello?
She already
Did
went.
you go? Oh, you went out. Oh, okay. I think it's just where you landed. Okay. So
I wanted
lost
to
connection and came back.
Emily, someone asked in the chat group, and as I had mentioned prior, I wasn't much, so our relationship had like really kind of fizzled out during your marriage.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in like what made you leave.
Yeah. And so that's the question that I'm going to go on. What made me leave? I'll be very honest with you guys. I'll be very honest, very plain, very simple. I would have not left for anything. Not even for cheating. And I know that's problematic, but depending on the level of it, because he was a good father because he was a good provider. And it's not to say that I would take a good provider and a good father, but I would put my kids' best interest at heart. And what I'm learning now is that there are times where you have to find ways to make yourself happy in order to put your kids' interests at heart if the dynamic is not toxic enough for them to ingest it. When the kids are ingesting the toxicity that's floating around in the house, then you have to find a different way. But on his level, take away the thing that made me leave, there wasn't much toxicity other than the thing that made me leave. Now, that thing that made me leave, it was big. That was all the toxicity I needed. He was just okay. I'm gonna say one thing. When I had my son, I have 3 children. My oldest is 12. My middle is 10. My youngest is 7. My 7-year-old, when he started turning about 4-ish, I started seeing these behaviors in him. When he gets mad, when you take something away from him, or he feels that you have cheated him, and he is so principled, and in his mind, you're saying, okay, if mommy lets me watch TV till 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm exaggerating, but if mommy makes me watch TV till 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, and Wednesday she comes and says, no, you're going to sleep at 8 o'clock, you've cheated him. Because you said something, and now, although whatever you said was good, bad, ugly, now you're changing it on him, and so you cheated him. And when he gets mad, it literally is just like the Hulk. And seeing this in my child gave me a different perspective and a different level of empathy for my ex-husband. It made me realize that these are things that their personality, their habits, their traits. No, they're not habits, because habits you pick up. These are personality traits. And if you as a parent do not help that child shape it up in a productive way, then it becomes explosive and it becomes destructive. And I'm saying this to say that is the reason I left my ex-husband. When he would get upset for whatever reason in his mind that he thinks maybe he's been cheated, or things are not going his way, or he's not having his way. Now you take this little boy who is 5 and you multiply it with the size of Ben. Y'all know he is stocky. He's heavy-handed. So for whatever reason in his head, if he's feeling that, and I'm not making excuses. Oh, no, Tonia's back. Let me put her in. But when he explodes, it was scary. It was absolutely scary. And I saw it escalating. And knowing the woman I am, and this is the point where I'm like, there are times where we have to maybe have another conversation with regards to low self-esteem, with regards to all these other labels that people easily place. Because what I know is that you will not be touching me. That's not happening. If you were to lay a finger or a nail on me, someone's going in the casket. And for me, my fear was that I didn't have an assurance that it wouldn't be me. And because I didn't have an assurance that it wouldn't be me going in the casket, I would have to leave. And that's the reason I left. There was an incident where there was a big misunderstanding, and I was just trying to let him know, like, just go find a hotel, calm down for a little bit. And once you calm down, you can come back home. And he just did not understand the fact that this is his house. Why does he have to go find a hotel somewhere else? It makes sense to him. He wants to come home where his clothes are. And he broke the door. That was the moment for me where I said, I am out, literally. And I've had many conversations with everyone. And for me, you guys know, I don't make decisions lightly. I usually sit and I think things through again. And when I make a decision, it's because my soul is at peace with that decision. And my soul was at peace with that decision. My soul was absolutely at peace with it. Again, it's just something that I have had to learn with my child, having empathy and also understanding that it is just about discipline and lack of discipline. And as much as I can put the blame on his parents knowing I have a child, yes, I have a book. I actually have it right here. I'll show it to y'all. I didn't even put it here on purpose, but it's literally in my room. I went and I bought this book. And this is a book of emotions, feelings, and choices, y'all. And because I know the damage that my little boy could do to another woman, I am absolutely intentional about how I help him pick his emotions out, pick it through. Some days we do well, some days we don't, but to try to figure out how to manage his emotions. Because as a little boy, you may not do that much damage, which he actually does do damage, okay? Because he's stocky just like his father. But as a grown man, you are literally a walking threat to someone's life. And yeah, it's my husband has grown. My ex-husband, what? My ex-husband has grown. My ex-husband has grown. You know, he's grown some. You know, he's not the same man that he was. I believe that the divorce shook him to a certain degree where he kind of had to grow some. And he's on his own journey. Where that journey leaves him, I don't know. Right. But the point is to not make it about the other person. Let's make it about us as the other party in it. What are we doing with this live? I can literally sit and replay it and find the variables, those bricks I'm talking about, the variables that led me to there, right? Because they're variables that if someone else in a different situation who is blessed to not have had those variables would never go through the situation I went through. My whole thing, though, is that we can have a little bit more empathy for people who don't choose. We don't choose our variables sometimes. I didn't choose that I'm an only child. I didn't choose that I'm introverted. I didn't choose that my mom is also someone who does not necessarily express herself in that way, and it may have influenced me. I didn't choose some of these bricks that are my foundation of my breakage. So we have to lend a little bit more empathy and be able to give people safe spaces so they can find themselves. Because again, like the analogy that I started this thing with, the analogy is that when you hold a plate and you let it fall and it hits a hard ground, it scatters. And everyone who has children, the first thing you say is nobody move. Because you want to make sure there are no interruptions, there are no disruptions, so that you can find each piece and you don't leave any piece anywhere. That's what happens when our souls break too. That's what happens when we break too. We need to be able to have that safe space, that barrier that keeps the disruptions from coming. But because it's life, disruptions come. So you need to be very intentional in creating the safe spaces, the people that you can go to. Obviously, I have my girlfriends that I didn't even tap into, but like, now that you're hearing me, you can start making the list even before you get to a place of brokenness. Who are those people that I know I can go to if something happens and I break? Because I'm going to tell you something. Breakage don't know nobody. Breakage does not respect you as a person of you grow up from a two-parent household, or everybody is susceptible to it at some point. And if you don't, then that's a blessing. You count it blessed. You count yourself blessed. It's not for someone to kind of ask for it, but breakage and failure, these are things that happen to us. So just be a little bit more empathetic towards someone's bricks. Just think about the different bricks that they may have chose or they may not have chosen that form the foundation to their breakage, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I feel my calling is. That's what I feel my pain turned to purpose has become. And I mean, I don't know if anybody else asked a question, but let me see if someone else had a question. Oh, so my mom is in the chat. Oh my goodness. My mom is in the chat and I guess my son is with him. And so my son is saying, Jordan, it's 10:49. Why are you not asleep? Lord have mercy. My mom's in the chat and my son's with him. And so my son must have told my mom that he's getting better with his anger. Of course you are, son. We're going to work on it. We're not giving up on that. We're going to work on it until you get it right? Because you're worth it. You're worth getting it right. Okay, baby? That's random. But Okay, so let me see if there are any more questions. Are there any more questions? Oh, thank you, Janice. Oh. Okay, so yeah, someone's I should hold the book up. Yeah, here's the book. This is the book I got. I got the book, and there's actually another chart that I got. And what it does is it goes through your emotions. And I didn't have this empathy. I thought my ex-husband was a monster. I did. I thought my ex-husband was a monster. I thought he was evil and mean and conniving and malicious. And he literally was he just loved to have fun with making me miserable until I had my child, and until I started seeing that in him and realized that it's just a lack of discipline. So yeah, this is the book. It's called Feelings and Choices. I actually had to Google this. I was like, what book can I get? We use YouTube videos too to talk about anger and anger management. And yeah, so because our kids are going to be somebody's husbands and somebody's wives, it tells you what you're feeling. It said, I'm feeling accepted. And there are good feelings and there are bad feelings, and they tell you what to do when there's a bad feeling. Let me show you this one. This one is saying, I feel aggressive. And when you feel aggressive, this is what it tells you to how to get support. So it says, I'm feeling aggressive to support myself. Y'all, this is why my friends laugh at me all the time. Okay. Because this is me. They laugh at me all the time, like, oh my gosh, you're so extra. But yeah, this is it. And it tells you what you're feeling. And there are times where he gets mad. And I'm like, go get your book. Read it. What is it saying? What are you feeling? What should you do? And we go through it because it's detrimental, right? Our kids are our legacy. And I want my legacy to be one of discipline and intentional choices. So yeah. Are there any more questions? I don't know if I missed any questions. Oh yeah. Yeah. So bring it to the panel for comment section. Like, do you guys have any questions? Any questions? Because otherwise, then I feel like we really did this. I feel like we did it justice. Oh,
I think someone in the comment posted, Candace or something, she had said, I think a lot of women struggle with building sisterhoods and we need that connection. What advice would either of you give to build friendship with other women?
Oh, that's a good one.
Somebody posted that in the chat.
Yeah, so you guys can start. Since you read it, you can start.
Oh.
Someone came in. Someone came in, and I think I missed adding them on, so they left. But you please come back, because I probably was talking and I just didn't see that you were on. How many people are on right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I had so many questions of like, all 9 people are going to show up. Yeah. And
only Emily can do that. I was so shocked. I said I was so shocked that you actually got all 9
pulled. So let me tell you guys the story of how this came to be. I was journaling. It was one live that we did because I'm part of Kojo's live, Kojo Little Black Book 9-1, and some of my Mineral Gang family are in the chats, and we do lives and we talk. Hey. And we talk, we actually have conversations, and we had one conversation. Yeah, there she is. So right now I have 8. So we were in there and we were talking about Paige. And that day, it was the reunion. It was the reunion. And usually the days where I can be hard on Paige, because I'm like, listen, Paige, like I can't do, like the one thing I would say is when you have a friend who is consumed with their situation, you need to be a safe space, yes. But if you really feel yourself kind of like being drawn into the toxicity of it, you need to be able to give yourself some space to be able to get yourself mentally prepared. Because the thing about it, it's kind of like being on a plane and having a dependent. Right? When you have a dependent, you need to put your life jacket on first. So you have to make sure that you're okay. If you're really interested in saving your friend or being a support for your friend, you have to be stable. So when you're giving them that safe space, just make sure to take care of yourself as well. And so we were talking about Paige, and we were talking about Paige, and we weren't talking about Paige. I'm sorry, I'm confusing it. I was watching the reunion, and in the reunion, I saw this level of dehumanization of this girl. Because for me, nothing warrants the fact that you see she is literally like she was having a breakdown as a broken person. That looks way different from a breakdown of a regular, like a whole person. She was having a breakdown as a broken person. That was so uncomfortable for me to watch. And for people to not get up and actually raise arms for me, that's when I knew there's a point where we need to have conversation. We need to be able to humanize the experiences of broken people. And I left that live and I came and I started journaling. Oh no, after I watched the reunion and I started journaling. And I was journaling and I was journaling and I was like, no, I got to do something. I have to do something about this. So each and every one of you guys, I texted you at 11 something as I literally laid my pen down. I was like, I have to talk to you. And this wasn't something I would do over text. So I called each and every one of you guys. You guys picked up and you gave thumbs up. You're like, yes, we're going to do it. And it was short notice, especially for Yaya. Yaya is the one who I was literally stalking. I was like, yeah, you need to pick up your phone. You're acting like, I said, you're being Emily-like. Literally, I said on the text message, how am I calling you and you're not responding? And apparently the girl was in Ghana living her best life. And I was
he will always have a very special place in my heart. But the reason why the relationship
what's going on?
Because we just went public way too fast. Had way too many people in our business.
Shadetta? Okay, I'm gonna mute her. I think that was her. So yeah, so at the end of the day, it was such an impromptu move, but it was such a heavy thing for me because a lot of you guys know this has been on my heart for forever. We've talked about it so many times. It being in my marriage, I was married for 8 years. And again, to show that this journey, it's not just a day's journey. It takes a while sometimes for you to find yourself. So again, like I like in the prayer that I played in the beginning, you need to tune out the negativity, tune it out so that you can find your safe space to find yourself, right? Because it is in yourself. The strength that you need is within you. That when people say, that's true. And even sometimes when they do call you brokenness, it's true. When they call you low self-esteem, it's true. But you just don't have to let that be the sounding voice behind your, like, it shouldn't be louder. It shouldn't, you need to silence those. Because so what, you have low self-esteem. You may have it in this moment, but you don't know what's going to happen in the next moment. So you need to be able to shut all that stuff out and focus on finding your voice and finding your strength. And this is what I hope this channel would do. I hope this channel would be a safe space for people who are going through things where you can come and there wouldn't be that clutter of noise and judgment, because I've been there. I've been there. Can you imagine calling your friend and saying, hey, my breath stinks? Like, what? Girl, what? You okay? Should we lock you up? Like, what's going on in your head? I've been there. I've been there. And I am thankful and gracious that I was able to find safe spaces, to collect all of myself enough to say, nah, this ain't for me. And whether you stay or you leave, that's on you. But just find yourself. Find yourself enough to stand tall within yourself. Find yourself enough to stand straight and tall within your truth and within your power as the child of God that He has created you to be. That's all I'm saying. And that's all I want to create here, safe spaces for you to do that. So unless there are any other questions, let me see. Unless there are any other questions, I don't think there are. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Every single one of you. Mom says, nice seeing you. She's lurking in the comments. But I appreciate every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. You guys were there. Hold on, let me show some wedding pictures, because I have wedding pictures here. And yeah, let me see. These have been dismantled because the kids come around and they say, I'm gonna show y'all what I mean. I don't know if y'all can see. This is my picture, my wedding picture. Y'all remember this? Oh man. I don't want to show a picture of him. I was gonna show a picture of him, but that's okay. I'm not going to. Let me see. I'll take the pictures out so that it's easy. And I'm gonna do this for maybe the next 10 minutes, and then we can just call it. We can just call it a day because this was really good. Ruby,
Beautiful bride.
unmute yourself, guys. Unmute yourself because we're done. We're done. I'm gonna pay homage to my father-in-law. God, he loved me. Oh, he loved me, and I loved him. Oh, he passed of cancer. He loved me, and I loved him. He loved me like a daughter, and I loved him. Okay, so this is us partying. That's me dancing with my father-in-law. Let me see. Let me find some more pictures of you guys. Let me see. Ah! Oh my God! And yes, they did get married, guys. They did get married, and they have 4 beautiful children. Patricia have 4 beautiful children together.
That was me?
Yes, that was you. Are you kidding? That was your Peter. Look, he caught the garter and he was putting it on you, acting all shy because you guys were so innocent. It was just beautiful innocence. Yes, they weren't married then, but they're married now. 4 beautiful, amazing kids. Let me see. It was a fun day though, right? Oh my gosh. Hold on, y'all. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this one? Bam. This is the tearful toast. We were all in tears. Should I put it on longer? Should I?
Who is that? I can't even see.
Crying.
Oh Lord, we already know. Shadetta, you're on mute. Shadetta, you're on mute.
That was Shadetta crying. Let me see. This is all of you guys. Rahel, Shadetta, Miltonia. You guys giving the speech. Let's see.
What year was that?
2008.
Oh wait. Wow, you got married like
young.
Yeah. 2008.
I was in the
This
club.
is you guys. Toma, Miltonia.
Is that Liz?
My goodness.
No, that's Toma, Miltonia, and Rahel.
Oh, Rahel. Okay.
It was a beautiful wedding, though. I'd say that much. Thank you, Mother, for decorating every single spot. Like, it was a beautiful wedding. It was a big, huge wedding full of like 300
huge
people.
wedding.
It was a huge wedding. And
look at your mom. Your mom's made a comment. Hi.
She did. She's in there. This is you guys. It was a whole bunch of us. It was just
that's so sweet.
It was a whole bunch of us. Yeah, let me see if I can find some more pictures of you guys. Oh, this is when you guys were lined up. This is when you guys were lined up.
Aww.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah.
So Emily, when you go through those pictures, what emotions do you feel? I don't mean to start this whole thing.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It doesn't end. That's the point, right?
I'm just wondering.
It doesn't end. The conversation doesn't end. And that's why there's a whole channel for this. So listen, we could do this even more often and come on here and talk some more and dissect some more because my perspective is only one. But when I look at them, I see the foundation on which my kids were made. That's what I see. That's it. Beautiful. I don't see bitter. I don't see pain. I don't see toxicity. I just saw, and that's I keep it. There are days where we all sit here and we start looking at them like, oh look, this your dad, it's me, this, that's what I see, the foundation on which my kids were made. So yeah, let me try to put Tillman in, because Tillman and Ruby are
Emily,
back.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just thinking as you're talking, you know how you mentioned like the rehearsal dinner, the fight that happened that some people witnessed. And I'm just thinking here, like the next day you asked, were we surprised that we saw that you move forward? Yeah. Would you say that things were different because you did have Elijah then? Like you had Elijah before the actual wedding day?
Yeah, I think
Did
so.
it have
That
a
was
lot to play with it?
Yeah. And I've mentioned it so many times that I don't think I would have married. I don't think I would have been married if we didn't have a child. I mean, I don't think I would have had the white wedding if we didn't have a child. I don't think I would have been married if I wasn't pregnant. I don't think I would have been married, because not because I didn't love him, but because the relationship would have progressed to a point where once I saw those really, really, really terrible traits, I would have been able to walk, right? But the thing about it is, like, I don't know if it was that he hid it, or if it was just that with circumstances, it just didn't come up. But yeah, if the relationship progressed, I would have seen those things happening, right? I would have seen those things happening, because we dated for a year, right? Because we dated for a year. So let's say we dated for 3 years and these things were popping. Because that's the thing, again, this is the point I want to make. I wasn't a doormat, right? I'm not a doormat that you could just come and just treat any way. But it's just like there were certain things that anchored me in a way that I gave it a lot more patience. Even though I am a very patient person, I think I gave it a lot more patience than I would have ordinarily. And that's what led me there. So yeah, I would have been able to see it, and I would have gotten out. Yeah. So this is the last one I'm going to put up of me and my girls and that beautiful day. And Toma and Ruby want to come back in. So yeah, this is it. This is me and all of you guys. And I appreciate y'all to no end. I love y'all so much for all the
You
parts.
look good, girl.
Huh?
You look good.
Yeah, the kids are grown now, so they don't. I got my freedom now. Yeah, my youngest is 7, going on 8. Yeah, I can get some shut eye. Yeah. No, but it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have all these nieces all amongst y'all. Like, there's so many nieces now and so many nephews. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for being able to avail yourselves for me and coming. And yeah, I don't know if you guys have any last words, but I really appreciate you guys. I can't say it enough.
Only you. As
I mentioned earlier, you're a gift to everyone that you come in contact with, anyone. And I feel like this platform will transform someone's life. And just thank you so much for opening up your life and allowing us to come in and give our perspectives. And that takes a lot for someone to do that. So we love you and hope to see you soon.
Okay, y'all, like, I'm about to end this because I cry. I love you so much, and maybe we can do this and not even just talk about this, but talk about other things, and just love on each other like we're doing right now, and show people how you can love on somebody who is still broken. I mean, your friends, you don't throw them away. I'm not in the trash. Y'all didn't throw me away. Y'all love on me.
See you
and I
all
love on y'all. So. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for joining. You guys don't have to click off, but thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please share, because this is not just about us sitting here and talking. This is
Good to
about
see you all.
touching somebody. This is about making a difference in someone's life. So I beg of y'all, if I don't beg of y'all for nothing else, please share with all the women you know. Because as these women made clear, there were moments where they didn't even know I was struggling. You don't know who's struggling, who needs this. So please share with every single woman you know. Share on all your platforms. You don't even have to do anything. Just put it on there and just let them watch it. And it may bless someone. So I appreciate you guys in the chat, my Mineral Gang crew, gang, gang, gang. I appreciate y'all in here, my sisters for life. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Now, are we all hanging up or?
No, don't hang up. I'm just